I found a new piece of the puzzle regarding this story of the lost city of Atlantis, possibly being Antarctica. There are stories where people have said that they believe it could be this place in Africa. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. If it were an advanced race and they were seafaring, the way they built their cities, they might have reproduced in multiple locations around the world. But there's something new today. Something that I would like to share with you that was brought to me by a viewer. And the viewer was attempting to take issue with my belief that the term Magellanica is really a contraction of, or a morphing of, a bunch of different words. I've made the allegation that it is Magaya Nika, which translates to only afloat or only by boat can you get there. And this is one of the things that just about every story of Atlantis has in common. These rings of water where there's bridges and there's gates and locks. There's a new word added to the puzzle today, and it's this term Siva, S-I-V-A. Now, the person taking issue with me has used a translation that has it meaning the word or. There's two other translations of the term Siva from ancient times. The Dutch have it meaning literally like a sieve, S-I-V-E. There's also another translation that means yes, go. And that's the Spanish Italian. But what I would like to share with you today regarding Atlantis starts with that loss of language idea. I'm sure many of you know the story of how we got to the word goodbye. It is a transmutation of four different words together, started being God be with ye, and then just over time got shortened, and then now we're to goodbye. If I were to tell you that the vast majority of the Romance languages assign gender to inanimate objects, most of you would say, what? Well, any of you out there who've studied Spanish or Italian or French know this to be true. Sit back and imagine that for a minute, though. Assigning gender to a chair, or a pencil, or a door, or a house. That's a concept that goes back 1,000 years or more. But we don't understand it. Language always gets changed and morphed. And I just wanted to show you this, just so you know I'm not making this up. Magaya, Italian, is but afloat. Nika, in the Spanish, means only. Sieve means yes, go, or in the Dutch means literally like a sieve, to leak slowly, or to, as in the flow of water, flow slowly. Now, there's something in these maps that doesn't fit, that would make all of this make sense. And I want to share this with you because the viewer, and I don't have his name because his comment was so large, it got thrown into the spam folder, and I looked at it, and then it got deleted because, of course, it was in the spam folder, or I would be giving this person, they're just, credit. In this map here, and I'll give you the link to it, it's very, very hard to show. Over here on the right-hand side, now this is a world map from the 1700s. If you go down the side here, you'll see a place on the right, and I'm trying to show it as much as I can here. It refers to this place called Magellanica, but you see in the background a castle. Now this is in South America, 1600s. There were no castles in South America anywhere in the 16s and 1700s. This is another one of the maps that was provided by that individual. Now this one's even harder, once again, to not only to maintain focus on, but it refers to, in this map right here, Australia as New Holland, and that's what it was called. It also shows down here at the bottom the tip of Africa being much, much farther away from Antarctica than the tip of South America. In fact, it shows the tip of South America literally being right on top of it. We see the same thing in this map. And this all goes to the same point, that I believe the imagery that we're seeing in these old maps is much more akin to an intelligence report, because that's how maps acted. They weren't decorations like we use them. Creating these things took so much effort. It's very difficult to explain. You not only had to have the person who visited the place to have the intelligence, you needed to have a certain kind of paper that was rare. You needed to have the ink in multiple colors, which was expensive and hard to come by. And then you also needed somebody who had the ability to take what the person who visited said and translate it into an image like this. These things were worth gold. And the reason I say all that is that they did not put things on these maps that were inaccurate just for fun. These were, like I said, intelligence reports of their day. Their accuracy is what gave them their value. But these castles, here I showed this because they're showing this area in Peru that has these giant walls with these parapets, buildings on the inside, and this huge, what looks like a castle. Also, here on this map, which I've never shown before, I'll try to zoom in, see if I can do that here. Up here in the upper left, once again, castles. European-style castles. The first castle that I can find record of having been built anywhere in South America is in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Hundreds of years after these were made. I mean, look at these. Where would the map makers have gotten the idea to put castles on a map of South America, or this area called Magallanica, or Patagonia, Tierra del Fuego? We see them down here as well. And these are different map makers, different eras, different times. This is the crux, the point that I wanted to get to about this Magallanica Sive. Meaning that I really think the translation is you can only go by boat, but afloat, only by boat. Sive, in this particular case, meaning slowly, or like a sieve, or flowing slowly. Would that not make sense for a city like this, where there was only one channel to get into it and one out of it, and you had to navigate in a way that was not like you would at open sea? It wouldn't just be a name of a place, it would be the information that someone using that map would have to navigate the place. And this is my point about this, is that once again we see all these castles, and it wouldn't make any sense unless you had gone to Google Earth Pro and found locations like this that we have covered multiple times. This is a real-world image. You can go to Google Earth Pro, download it, I'll give you this location, and you can go look at this shadow for yourself. And this is in Antarctica. And look at this, and then you can juxtapose that next to these old images from the 15 and 1600s, where they show over and over and over again castles in South America or Tierra del Fuego or Patagonia. But we know they weren't in this area. I really honestly believe these are conglomerated images of an area that used to be all one giant area that had no gap in between it, like we see today. This is just one location. I'll zoom out to another. And let's see if we can get this one too. Once again, I've labeled this Castle Ridge. And we've shown numerous others. I think this is just the use of the language, the use of the imagery, and then putting that next to what we've found and what we know can put together the puzzle for us. And zooming even farther out on Antarctica, there's something else you can see too. Remember this channel that goes into the center? This looks exactly like what was being described. And as you come in closer and you go around, you would see intercoastal waterway, a place you would have to go slowly. Sive, Magayanika Sive. Go by boat slowly. Go only by boat slowly. Magayanika Sive. Or Siva, however you want to pronounce it. This is what I think we're seeing in that old imagery. So, humble opinion, especially this area right here, specifically, these look exactly like slips or docks. Anybody who's been around any kind of port, and believe me, Mayport's a huge one, would recognize this right off the bat. And this is Antarctica. This is supposedly an uninhabited area, or an area that they're saying nobody ever lived natively. And that's the official statement, that there are no native inhabitants of Antarctica, at least not human ones. And I'll go back to where we started and show this, just so that people can get a grasp on what was described, what we can see, what does the language say, what does the imagery say, and then make up your own mind. I really honestly believe as late as the 1700s, this is what we know to be Antarctica looked like, and is Magayanika Sive, an area to be gone by boat only, slowly. Like, share, subscribe.